There was a house in Lagos that everyone in the neighborhood admired. It was big and beautiful, with tall gates, green grass, and a driveway so clean it looked like no car ever parked there. This house belonged to Aodil and Adesua, a couple everyone thought had the perfect life. Aodil was a tech genius, always working on something important in his sleek office. Adesua was a creative woman who decorated homes for rich people, and her work was so good that clients called her the Queen of Style. Inside this house, everything seemed peaceful. Their baby boy, Taif, was just 6 months old, a chubby little thing with a smile that could light up a room. Adesua adored him. She spent most of her days in the nursery, playing with him, talking to him, and singing songs. Taif loved when his mom sang. He would kick his little legs and laugh like it was the funniest thing in the world. Then there was Bruno, their German shepherd. Bruno wasn't just a pet. He was family. Adesua called him Taif's big brother. Bruno was protective, always sticking close to the baby's side. Whenever Adesua pushed Taif's stroller outside, Bruno would trot beside her like a proud guard dog. He seemed to understand that Taif was special. But not everything in that house was as perfect as it seemed. That morning started like any other. Adesua woke up early, as usual, to check on Taif. She walked into the nursery, expecting to see him sleeping peacefully in his crib. But the crib was empty. For a moment, she froze. Her heart started racing. Aodil, she screamed, running out of the room. Aodil, Taif is not in his crib. Aodil came out of their bedroom, looking confused. What are you talking about? He asked, rubbing his eyes. I said, Taif is not in his crib. Adesua repeated, her voice shaking. He's gone. Aodil hurried past her and went straight to the nursery. He looked around, but there was no sign of the baby. The blankets in the crib were messy, as if Taif had been picked up in a hurry. Adesua grabbed her phone and called the housekeeper. Auntie Joy, she said, her voice panicked. Have you seen Taif? Did you take him this morning? No, Ma, Joy replied. I haven't entered the nursery today. Adesua hung up and started crying. Where is my baby? She wailed. Aodil tried to stay calm. Let's check the CCTV, he said, guiding her to the security room. He opened the laptop that showed footage from all the cameras around the house. Adesua watched as he clicked through the video from the night before. There, she shouted, pointing at the screen. The footage showed Bruno pacing outside the nursery door in the early hours of the morning. A little later, the door opened, and Bruno walked inside. Moments later, he came out, carrying something in his mouth. It was Taif. Adesua gasped. No, 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 this can't be happening. Aodil, do something. Bruno has taken Taif. Aodil stared at the screen, his face pale. This doesn't make sense, he muttered. Bruno would never hurt him. He loves Taif, but where is he taking him? Adesua demanded, grabbing Aodil by the arm. We need to find them. Within minutes, Aodil called the security guard at the gate. Have you seen Bruno this morning? He asked. Yes, sir, the guard replied. I saw him run out of the gate around 4 a.m. I thought you let him out. You thought I let him out? Aodil shouted. Why would I let him take the baby? Why didn't you stop him? I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know the baby was with him, the guard stammered. Adesua couldn't hold back her tears. My baby is out there somewhere, she cried. What if something happens to him? What if he gets hurt? Aodil hugged her, trying to calm her down. Nothing will happen to Taif, he said firmly. We'll find him. I'll call the neighbors and the police. Soon, the whole neighborhood was buzzing with the news. People came out of their houses, some in pajamas, others already dressed for work. Everyone wanted to help. Bruno was well known in the area. He was a friendly dog who often followed Adesua and Taif during their morning walks. No one could believe that he would take the baby and run off. Maybe he's hiding somewhere in the estate, one neighbor suggested. No, he's smart, another said. He must have gone somewhere on purpose. Adesua didn't want to hear any guesses. She just wanted her baby back. Please, let's just find them, she begged. Hours passed, and the search grew wider. The police arrived and started questioning the security guard and the neighbors. Aodil joined the search team, but Adesua stayed home, glued to the CCTV footage, replaying it over and over. This doesn't add up, she whispered to herself. Why would Bruno do this? As she watched the footage again, something caught her eye. Bruno wasn't acting like a dog who had gone wild. He didn't look scared or panicked. He looked calm and focused, like he knew exactly what he was doing. She paused the video and stared at the screen. What are you up to, Bruno? She muttered. Aodil came back to the house, sweaty and frustrated. We couldn't find him, he said, slumping onto the couch. Adesua turned to him, her eyes red from crying. I want to see the footage from all the cameras, not just the nursery, she said. Why? Aodil asked, sounding tired. Because something feels wrong about this, Adesua replied. I need to see where he went and how he got out. Aodil sighed but agreed. Together, they reviewed the footage from the gate, the backyard, and even the streets outside. What they saw made Adesua's heart sink. At one point in the video, Bruno stopped near the gate and looked back at the house, as if waiting for a signal. A few minutes later, he darted out of the gate with Taif still in his mouth. Did you see that? Adesua asked, her voice shaking. See what? Aodil replied, avoiding her gaze. Don't play dumb, Aodil. Bruno looked back, like he was waiting for something. Someone let him out on purpose. Aodil's jaw tightened. You're being paranoid. Bruno is just a dog. A dog doesn't act like that unless someone trained him. Adesua shouted. What are you hiding from me? I'm not hiding anything, Aodil snapped. You're letting your emotions cloud your judgment. Let me handle this. Adesua stared at him, her chest rising and falling with anger. She didn't know what was going on, but she knew one thing for sure. Something wasn't right. As the day dragged on, Adesua's frustration grew. People came and went, offering theories and suggestions, but none of them made sense to her. She kept replaying Bruno's calm movements in her head. That night, as she lay in bed next to Aodil, she couldn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling, thinking about the baby, the dog, and the strange way Aodil had been acting. Aodil, she whispered in the dark. Him? He replied, half asleep. What if Bruno isn't the problem? What if someone made him do it? Aodil didn't answer right away. Then he said, go to sleep, Adesua. You're overthinking this. But Adesua couldn't shake the feeling that he knew more than he was letting on. Adesua barely slept that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Taif's empty crib or Bruno running through the gate with her baby. Her heart wouldn't stop racing, and her thoughts kept circling back to the CCTV footage. Why did Bruno act so calm? Why did he stop and look back before running out? None of it made sense. The next morning, she was up before the sun, pacing the living room. Aodil was still asleep, but Adesua couldn't wait anymore. She picked up her phone and started calling the neighbors again, asking if they had seen Bruno or Taif. Adesua, calm down, one neighbor said gently. We'll find him. Dogs don't just disappear, especially not one as smart as Bruno. But Adesua wasn't calm. How could she be calm when her baby was missing? When Aodil finally came downstairs, he looked tired and stressed. Any news? He asked, rubbing his forehead. No, Adesua said sharply. And you would know that if you weren't sleeping while our baby is out there. I wasn't sleeping, Aodil said defensively. I was thinking. Thinking? Adesua snapped. What is there to think about? We need to do something, Aodil. We need to find them. We're doing everything we can, Aodil said, trying to stay calm. The police are searching. The neighbors are helping. What else do you want me to do? I want you to act like you care. Adesua yelled, her voice breaking. Of course I care. Aodil shouted back. Do you think I don't care about Taif? He's my son too. Adesua glared at him, tears streaming down her face. Then start acting like it, she said quietly. The tension between them was thick, but they didn't have time to argue. The doorbell rang, and Aodil went to answer it. It was the police. Good morning, Sir, one of the officers said. We've been searching the area, but so far, we haven't found anything. We'll need more information to help us track the dog. Like what? Adesua asked, stepping forward. Does the dog have any favorite places? Somewhere he might go if he's scared or trying to hide? The officer asked. Adesua shook her head. Bruno isn't hiding. He's doing something. I don't know what, but he's not scared. He took Typh on purpose. The officer looked confused. Ma, dogs don't usually act on purpose. They follow instincts. Bruno isn't like other dogs, Adesua said firmly. He's smart. Too smart. Something is wrong here. I can feel it. Aodil interrupted. Bruno usually follows Adesua and Typh on their morning walks. He might have gone somewhere familiar from those walks. Have you checked the park nearby? Yes, sir, the officer replied. We've also checked the streets and some of the houses. No sign of him yet, but we'll keep looking. Please, Adesua begged, her voice trembling. Don't stop looking. My baby, my Typh. I just need him back. The officer nodded sympathetically. We'll do our best, Ma. Just try to stay strong. As the police left, Adesua turned to Aodil. This isn't enough, she said. We can't just sit here waiting for someone else to find him. We need to go out there and look too. I'll join the search team again, Aodil said. You stay here in case someone finds them and brings them back. Adesua shook her head. No, I can't just sit here. I'll go crazy. Adesua, listen to me, Aodil said firmly. If you're out there and someone finds Typh, how will we know? You need to stay by the phone. Adesua hated that he made sense. Fine, she muttered. But you better find him, Aodil. I swear, if anything happens to my baby. She didn't finish her sentence. While Aodil joined the search again, Adesua stayed home, pacing the living room like a trapped animal. Every time the phone rang, her heart jumped, but it was never the news she wanted to hear. Around noon, the private investigator she had hired the day before called her. His name was Mr. Aid, and he had a calm, professional voice that usually made her feel better. But today, nothing could calm her. Mrs. Adesua, Mr. Aid said, I've been reviewing the CCTV footage you sent me. Something doesn't add up. What do you mean? Adesua asked, gripping the phone tightly. The way Bruno acted, it's not random, Mr. Aid said. It's like he was following instructions. Adesua's stomach twisted. Instructions? From who? I don't know yet, Mr. Aid admitted. But there's more. The footage from the gate. There's a gap. About 5 minutes of video is missing. Adesua felt like the floor had dropped out from under her. Missing? How? Someone deleted it, Mr. Aid said. It wasn't a glitch. Someone didn't want you to see what happened during those 5 minutes. Adesua's hands were shaking as she hung up the phone. Her mind raced with questions. Who would delete the footage? Why? And most importantly, what happened in those missing 5 minutes? She didn't want to jump to conclusions, but one thought kept creeping into her mind, Aodil. Could he have done this? Could he have planned this? No, she whispered to herself. He wouldn't. He couldn't. That's crazy. But the doubt was there, growing stronger by the minute. When Aodil returned home that evening, he looked exhausted. His shirt was damp with sweat, and his shoes were covered in dirt. Any luck? Adesua asked, her voice sharp. No, Aodil said, slumping onto the couch. We checked the park, the streets, even the alleys. Nothing. Adesua stared at him, her eyes cold. You didn't find anything, or you didn't want to find anything. Aodil frowned. What's that supposed to mean? You tell me, Adesua said. Because I just spoke to Mr. Aid, and he told me there's missing footage from the gate. Someone deleted it. Do you know anything about that, Aodil? Aodil's face went blank for a moment, but then he shook his head. No, I don't know anything about that. You're lying, Adesua said, her voice rising. I can see it on your face. You're hiding something. I'm not hiding anything. Aodil shouted. Why would I hide anything when my son is missing? That's what I want to know. Adesua yelled back. Why does it feel like you're not as worried as you should be? Why does it feel like you're more interested in covering your tracks than finding Taif? Adesua, stop, Aodil said, his voice firm. You're stressed, and you're not thinking straight. I want Taif back just as much as you do. Then prove it. Adesua said. Tell me the truth, Aodil. Tell me what you know. There's nothing to tell, Aodil said, his tone colder now. You're letting your imagination run wild. Adesua's chest tightened. She wanted to believe him, but something about the way he spoke, so calm, so careful, made her doubt him even more. I'm going to find out the truth, she said quietly. With or without your help. Aodil didn't respond. He just looked at her, his expression unreadable. That night, Adesua stayed awake again, staring at the ceiling. She thought about Taif, about Bruno, about the missing footage. Her heart ached with worry, but her mind burned with anger. Whatever was going on, she was determined to uncover it. No matter what it took. Adesua didn't waste any time the next morning. She wasn't the type of woman to sit around and wait for answers when something didn't feel right. She was done crying and pacing the house. Now, she needed action. She sat in front of the laptop in the security room, determined to figure out what was going on. The missing 5 minutes of footage haunted her. Who would delete it? Why? The more she thought about it, the more she felt like Aodil wasn't telling her everything. Aodil walked in, holding a cup of coffee. He looked like he hadn't slept much either. What are you doing? He asked, his voice cautious. Adesua didn't even look at him. I'm watching the CCTV footage again, she said flatly. Adesua, we've already looked at it 100 times, Aodil said. There's nothing new to see. There's nothing new you want to see, Adesua shot back, her eyes glued to the screen. What's that supposed to mean? Aodil asked, putting down his coffee. Adesua turned to face him, her expression sharp. It means I don't trust you, Aodil. Not anymore. Aodil's jaw tightened. You're letting your emotions get the best of you, he said. Don't you dare tell me how to feel, Adesua snapped. My baby is out there, and you're acting like this is just another problem you can solve with your calm little excuses. I want answers, Aodil. Real answers. I've told you everything I know, Aodil said, his voice rising. No, you haven't. Adesua yelled, standing up. You've been lying to me since this started. You knew about the missing footage, didn't you? Aodil hesitated for a second, and that was all Adesua needed. I knew it, she said, her voice trembling with anger. You're hiding something. What did you do, Aodil? What are you not telling me? Nothing. Aodil shouted. I didn't do anything. I don't know what happened to the footage. Then who does? Adesua demanded. I don't know, Aodil said, his voice breaking. Adesua, I'm trying to find Taif just like you are. Why would I do anything to hurt him? I don't know, Adesua said, her eyes narrowing. But until I find out the truth, I can't trust you. The room fell silent. Aodil looked like he wanted to argue, but he didn't. He just stared at Adesua, his face a mix of anger and hurt. Finally, he turned and walked out of the room. Adesua felt her chest tighten. She didn't want to fight with Aodil, but she couldn't ignore her gut feeling. Something was wrong, and she wasn't going to stop until she figured it out. Later that day, Mr. Aid called again. His voice was calm, as always, but there was an edge of urgency that made Adesua sit up straighter. Mrs. Adesua, he said, I've been digging into the security system at your house. The missing footage wasn't deleted by accident. Someone logged in and removed it. Adesua's heart sank. Who? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. That's the problem, Mr. Aid said. The system doesn't show who logged in. But whoever it was had access to the main account. Adesua clenched her fists. And who has access to the main account? I believe only you and your husband do, Mr. Aid said carefully. Adesua closed her eyes, her mind spinning. She wanted to scream, to cry, but most of all, she wanted answers. Thank you, Mr. Aid, she said quietly before hanging up. That evening, Adesua confronted Aodil again. He was sitting in the living room, scrolling through his phone, when she walked in. "We need to talk," she said, her voice cold. Aodil sighed and put down his phone. "What now, Adesua?" "I just spoke to Mr. Aid," she said, crossing her arms. "He says the footage was deleted by someone with access to the main account. That means it was either you or me." "And you think it was me?" Aodil asked, raising an eyebrow. "Who else could it be?" Adesua shot back. "I didn't delete anything, so that leaves you." "Adesua, listen to yourself," Aodil said, standing up. "Why would I delete the footage? What would I gain from that?" "I don't know," Adesua said, her voice shaking. "But the fact that you're so calm about this makes me think you're hiding something. Why aren't you panicking, Aodil? Our baby is missing, and you're acting like this is some kind of game." "This isn't a game," Aodil shouted. "I'm trying to stay calm because losing my mind won't bring Taif back." "Then tell me the truth," Adesua yelled. "What are you not telling me?" "I've told you everything I know," Aodil yelled back. "You're the one who's seeing things that aren't there." Adesua felt tears sting her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. "If you won't tell me the truth, I'll find it myself," she said, her voice low but firm. "Fine," Aodil said, throwing up his hands. "Go ahead. Do whatever you want. But don't blame me when you find nothing." Adesua stared at him, her chest heaving with anger. She didn't say anything. She just turned and walked away. That night, Adesua couldn't sleep again. Her mind was racing with everything Mr. Aid had told her. If Aodil had deleted the footage, why? And if he didn't, then who did? She got out of bed and went back to the security room. She needed to see the footage again, to look for something she might have missed. As she watched the video, she noticed something strange. In one clip, Bruno was walking toward the gate, but then he stopped and looked back at the house. It was almost as if he was waiting for someone. "Who are you waiting for, Bruno?" Adesua whispered to herself. She rewound the video and watched it again. This time, she noticed something else. There was a shadow moving in the corner of the screen, near the side of the house. It was faint, but it was there. Adesua paused the video and leaned closer to the screen. Her heart was pounding. Was it Aodil? Or was it someone else? She needed answers, and she needed them now. The next morning, Adesua called Mr. Aid again. "I need you to look at something," she said. "There's a shadow in the footage. Can you enhance it?" "I'll see what I can do," Mr. Aid said. Adesua sent him the clip and waited anxiously for his response. Every minute felt like an hour as she stared at her phone, willing it to ring. Finally, it did. "Mrs. Adesua," Mr. Aid said, "I enhanced the footage, but the shadow isn't clear enough to identify who it is. However, it's definitely a person." Adesua's stomach turned. "So someone was there?" "Yes," Mr. Aid said. "Someone was there, and they were watching Bruno." Adesua felt a chill run down her spine. Whoever this person was, they knew what was happening. They might even be the one who deleted the footage. "Thank you, Mr. Aid," Adesua said. "I'll figure out the rest." That evening, Adesua confronted Aodil one more time. She didn't want to, but she had no choice. If he wasn't going to tell her the truth, she had to force it out of him. "Aodil," she said, walking into the living room. "I need to ask you something." "What now, Adesua?" Aodil said, sounding exhausted. "Do you know who was outside the house that night?" she asked. "What are you talking about?" Aodil said, frowning. "There was someone outside," Adesua said. "I saw their shadow on the footage. Do you know who it was?" "No, I don't," Aodil said, his voice firm. "And I'm tired of you accusing me of things I didn't do." "I'm not accusing you," Adesua said. "I'm just asking. If you don't know, then fine. But if you do, and you're lying to me, I will find out." "Adesua, I'm done with this," Aodil said, standing up. "Believe whatever you want, but don't drag me into your conspiracy theories." Adesua watched him walk away, her heart heavy with anger and sadness. She didn't know what to believe anymore. Adesua sat in the living room with her arms crossed tightly over her chest. It was the middle of the day, but the house felt dark and heavy. She hadn't spoken to Aodil since their last argument. He had left the house earlier that morning, muttering something about joining the search again, but she didn't believe him. Not anymore. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table, snapping her out of her thoughts. She snatched it up, her heart racing. It was Mr. Aid. Mrs. Adesua, his calm voice came through. "I've got something new for you." "What is it?" she asked quickly, her grip tightening on the phone. "I traced a few phone calls made from your husband's number in the past week," Mr. Aid said. "There's one number that stands out. It belongs to a woman named Kimi Adebayo." "Kimi?" Adesua repeated, frowning. The name didn't ring a bell. "Yes," Mr. Aid continued. "She's been in contact with your husband multiple times, and the last call was just 2 days before the baby went missing." Adesua's stomach churned. "Who is she?" "I'm not entirely sure yet," Mr. Aid admitted. "But I did some digging. She used to be close to your husband in university. I'll send you her address." Adesua stared at the phone, her mind racing. "Thank you, Mr. Aid," she said quietly. As soon as the call ended, Adesua grabbed her car keys. She didn't bother calling Aodil. Whatever this Kimi woman knew, she was going to find out herself. The drive to the address Mr. Aid had sent was tense. Adesua's mind was full of questions. Who was Kimi? Why had Aodil been calling her? And most importantly, did she have anything to do with Taif's disappearance? When she finally arrived, she parked her car on the side of the road and stared at the house. It was a modest bungalow with a small garden out front. There was nothing suspicious about it, but Adesua's heart was pounding. She took a deep breath, got out of the car, and walked up to the door. Her hands trembled as she knocked. A few moments later, the door opened. A woman stood there, her expression cautious. She was slim, with dark skin and short hair. She looked to be in her mid-30s, and there was something guarded in her eyes. "Yes," the woman said. "Are you Kimi?" Adesua asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Kimi's eyes narrowed slightly. "Who's asking?" "I'm Adesua," she said, her voice firm now. "Aodil's wife." For a moment, Kimi's face froze. Then she quickly recovered, stepping outside and closing the door behind her. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her tone sharp. "I want to know why my husband has been calling you," Adesua said. "And I want to know what you have to do with my missing son." Kimi's eyes widened. "Your son is missing?" she asked, sounding genuinely surprised. "Don't play dumb," Adesua snapped. "I know Aodil has been talking to you. I know you two have history. So tell me the truth. What's going on?" Kimi folded her arms and leaned against the door. "You don't know anything, do you?" she said, a hint of a smirk on her lips. "Then explain it to me," Adesua demanded. Kimi let out a small sigh. "Fine," she said. "Yes, Aodil and I were close in university. Very close. But things didn't work out, and we went our separate ways. I didn't hear from him for years. Then, a few weeks ago, he called me out of the blue." "Why?" Adesua asked, her voice sharp. Kimi hesitated, glancing down at the ground. "He said he needed my help," she said finally. "With what?" Kimi looked up, her expression serious now. "He told me that your baby might be mine." Adesua's breath caught in her throat. For a moment, she couldn't speak. "What did you just say?" she whispered. Kimi's voice was calm but firm. "He told me that your baby might be mine. That he and I had a child years ago, and the baby was taken from me. He said Taif looks exactly like that baby." Adesua stared at her, her heart pounding so loudly she could barely hear anything else. "That's impossible," she said, shaking her head. "Taif is my son. My son, Kimi." "I'm just telling you what Aodil told me," Kimi said, her tone unapologetic. Adesua took a step back, her mind spinning. Was this true? Could it be true? She didn't know what to think. "You're lying," she said finally. "This is just a story Aodil made up to cover his tracks." Kimi shrugged. "Believe what you want. But he came to me, not the other way around." Adesua felt a surge of anger. If this is some kind of sick joke. It's not a joke, Kimi interrupted. I haven't even seen the baby. I don't know what he looks like. All I know is what Aodil told me. Adesua glared at her. If you're lying to me. I'm not, Kimi said simply. Adesua stormed back to her car and sat there for a moment, gripping the steering wheel tightly. Her chest felt tight, and her head was spinning. What was Aodil doing? Why would he say something like that to Kimi? She needed answers, and there was only one person who could give them to her. When Adesua got home, Aodil was sitting in the living room, staring at his phone. He looked up when she walked in, his expression cautious. Where were you? He asked. Where do you think? Adesua snapped. Aodil frowned. What's that supposed to mean? It means I went to see Kimi, Adesua said, crossing her arms. And you will not believe what she told me. Aodil's face paled slightly, but he quickly recovered. You went to see Kimi? He asked. Why? Don't act dumb, Aodil, Adesua said, her voice rising. She told me everything. About the phone calls. About what you said to her. About Taif. Aodil stood up, his face serious now. Adesua, listen to me. No, you listen to me, she shouted. How could you tell her something like that? How could you lie to her about our son? It wasn't a lie, Aodil said quietly. Adesua froze. What did you just say? I said it wasn't a lie, Aodil repeated. Adesua stared at him, her chest tightening. You're telling me that Taif isn't my son? I don't know, Aodil said, his voice strained. That's what I was trying to figure out. Adesua felt like the floor was falling out from under her. What are you talking about? She whispered. Aodil rubbed his face, looking exhausted. Years ago, before we got married, Kimi and I had a child. At least, I thought we did. But the baby died. Or at least that's what I was told. Then, when Taif was born, he looked so much like that baby. I started to wonder if maybe what? Adesua demanded, her voice trembling. If maybe the baby wasn't dead, Aodil said. If maybe he was taken and given to us. Adesua felt like she couldn't breathe. How could you even think that? She whispered. I didn't want to believe it, Aodil said. But the resemblance, it was too much. I had to know the truth. So you went behind my back, Adesua said, her voice cold. You went to Kimi and told her Taif might be hers. Do you have any idea what you've done? I was trying to protect our family, Aodil said. Protect our family. Adesua shouted. You've destroyed our family. The argument went on for what felt like hours. Adesua demanded answers, and Aodil tried to explain, but nothing he said made sense to her. She couldn't believe that the man she had trusted could do something like this. By the time the argument was over, Adesua was exhausted. She went to bed alone, her mind racing with everything she had learned. As she lay there in the dark, one thought kept coming back to her. Taif was her son. No matter what Aodil said, no matter what Kimi believed, Taif was hers. And she was going to do whatever it took to bring him home. Adesua couldn't stop thinking about everything Aodil had said. The words kept echoing in her mind. I don't know if Taif is ours. How could he say something like that? How could he even think it? Taif was her son. She didn't need a DNA test or anyone's approval to know that. She had carried him, nursed him, and loved him since the moment he was born. But now, there was this doubt. Aodil had planted a seed in her mind, and she hated him for it. She hated how he had let Kimi into their lives. She hated how he had lied to her, kept secrets, and dragged their family into this mess. Most of all, she hated that Taif was still missing, and instead of helping her find him, Aodil was making everything worse. The next morning, Adesua woke up with a plan. She wasn't going to wait around for Aodil to mess things up even more. She was going to find Taif herself. She called Mr. Aid again, her voice steady but firm. I need you to find out where Kimi is right now, she said. Mr. Aid hesitated. Mrs. Adesua, are you sure that's a good idea? You've already confronted her once. I don't care. Adesua cut him off. She knows something. I can feel it. And I'm not sitting here another day while my baby is out there. Mr. Aid sighed but agreed. Give me a few hours, he said. While she waited for Mr. Aid to call back, Adesua kept herself busy by going through the baby's things. She touched Taif's clothes, his toys, and the little blanket he used to hold onto when he slept. Her heart ached with every item she picked up, but it also gave her strength. She looked at a framed photo of Taif on the living room shelf. His big, toothless smile stared back at her. I'm going to find you, she whispered. I promise. By the afternoon, Mr. Aid called back with Kimi's location. She's at home, he said. Same address as before. Adesua grabbed her keys and headed out the door. She didn't bother telling Aodil where she was going. She didn't even care if he noticed she was gone. When she got to Kimi's house, she didn't hesitate. She knocked on the door hard and fast, her heart pounding in her chest. Kimi opened the door, her expression annoyed. What now? She asked. We need to talk, Adesua said, pushing past her and walking into the house. Kimi closed the door behind her, folding her arms. You're bold, I'll give you that, she said. I'm not here to play games, Kimi, Adesua said, turning to face her. Where is Taif? Kimi's eyebrows shot up. Excuse me. You heard me, Adesua said, her voice rising. Where is my son? I don't know what you're talking about, Kimi said calmly. Don't lie to me. Adesua shouted. I know you're involved in this. I know Aodil came to you. I know he told you some ridiculous story about Taif being your child. So stop pretending and tell me the truth. Kimi's expression didn't change. I told you before, I haven't even seen the baby, she said. And I don't know where he is. Adesua stepped closer, her eyes blazing. If you're lying, Kimi, I swear. Swear what? Kimi interrupted, her voice sharp. What are you going to do? Adesua? Blame me for something I didn't do? I already told you, your husband came to me. I didn't go looking for him. That doesn't mean you're innocent, Adesua shot back. And it doesn't mean I'm guilty, Kimi said. The two women stared at each other, the air between them crackling with tension. Adesua wanted to scream, to shake Kimi until she admitted the truth. But something about Kimi's calmness made her hesitate. What do you want from me, Adesua? Kimi asked finally. You barged into my house, accusing me of things I didn't do. What are you hoping to find? I want my baby, Adesua said, her voice breaking. Kimi's expression softened for a moment. I'm sorry, she said quietly. I really don't know where he is. Adesua felt tears welling up in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She turned and walked out of the house without another word. As she drove home, Adesua's mind was spinning. Kimi's calmness had shaken her, but it hadn't convinced her. There was still something off about the whole situation. She couldn't shake the feeling that Kimi knew more than she was letting on. When she got home, Aodil was waiting for her. He was sitting on the couch, his face tense. Where were you? He asked. None of your business, Adesua snapped. Adesua, we need to talk, Aodil said, standing up. I don't want to talk to you, Adesua said, brushing past him. You went to see Kimi again, didn't you? Aodil said, following her. So what if I did? Adesua said, spinning around to face him. Why can't you just leave her alone? Aodil said, she has nothing to do with this. How do you know that? Adesua demanded. How do you know she's not involved? Because I know her, Aodil said. She wouldn't do something like this. Adesua let out a bitter laugh. Oh, you know her? Is that supposed to make me feel better? You've been lying to me since this started, Aodil. Why should I trust anything you say? I'm not lying, Aodil said, his voice rising. Then tell me the truth. Adesua shouted. Tell me everything. I already told you everything, Aodil said. You just don't want to believe me. Because your story doesn't make sense. Adesua yelled. The argument spiraled from there, both of them shouting over each other, their words cutting like knives. Adesua accused Aodil of betraying her, of bringing Kimi into their lives, of putting their family in danger. Aodil accused Adesua of being paranoid, of not trusting him, of making things harder than they needed to be. By the time the argument was over, both of them were exhausted. Adesua went to bed without saying another word, her heart heavy with anger and sadness. The next morning, Adesua woke up with a new sense of determination. She didn't care what Aodil said or what Kimi claimed. She was going to find Taif, no matter what it took. She called Mr. Aid again and asked him to dig deeper into Kimi's background. She needed to know everything about this woman, where she went, who she talked to, and what secrets she was hiding. While she waited for Mr. Aid's report, Adesua focused on the one thing that kept her going, Taif. She spent hours looking at his photos, replaying videos of his laughter, and reminding herself of why she couldn't give up. Later that day, Mr. Aid called back with new information. Mrs. Adesua, he said, I've been following Kimi closely, and I think I've found something. What is it? Adesua asked, her heart racing. She's been meeting with someone, Mr. Aid said. A man. I don't know who he is yet, but they've met several times in the past week. Way! Adesua demanded. At a park near her house, Mr. Aid said. Adesua felt a surge of anger. Find out who he is, she said. I'm already on it, Mr. Aid said. Adesua hung up the phone, her mind racing. Whoever this man was, he had to be connected to Kimi, and maybe even to Taif. She didn't know how yet, but she was determined to find out. That evening, she confronted Aodil again. Do you know who Kimi has been meeting with? She asked. What are you talking about? Aodil said, frowning. She's been meeting with a man, Adesua said. Do you know who he is? No, Aodil said, his voice firm. And I don't care. I told you. Kimi has nothing to do with this. I don't believe you, Adesua said. Believe whatever you want, Aodil said, his tone cold. The tension between them was unbearable, but Adesua didn't care anymore. She was done trying to work with Aodil. From now on, she was going to do things her way. Adesua didn't sleep that night. Her mind was too full of questions, doubts, and fears. She sat in Taif's nursery, staring at the empty crib, trying to piece everything together. She couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. She needed answers, and she needed them fast. Her phone buzzed on the small table next to her. She grabbed it quickly and saw Mr. Aid's name on the screen. What do you have? She asked, her voice sharp. Mrs. Adesua, I found out who Kimi's been meeting with, Mr. Aid said. Who? A man named Femi Olatunji, Mr. Aid replied. Let's just say he's not exactly clean. He's been involved in some shady deals over the years. Smuggling, fraud, you name it. And he has a connection to Kimi. What kind of connection? Adesua asked, her grip tightening on the phone. They used to work together on a few schemes back in the day, Mr. Aid explained. It seems like they've stayed in touch. I don't have proof yet, but I think he's involved in whatever's going on. Adesua's stomach churned. Do you know where I can find him? Yes, Mr. Aid said. I tracked his movements. He's been staying at an old warehouse near the outskirts of the city. Kimi has met him there a few times. Adesua took a deep breath. Send me the address, she said. Mrs. Adesua, Mr. Aid said cautiously. Are you sure you want to go there? It could be dangerous. I don't care, Adesua said firmly. I need to find my son. By the time the sun rose, Adesua was already on the road. She didn't tell Aodil where she was going. She didn't trust him to support her, and she didn't need him slowing her down. When she reached the warehouse, she parked her car a safe distance away and approached on foot. The building was old and run down, with broken windows and graffiti covering the walls. It looked like the kind of place where bad things happened. Her heart pounded as she crept closer, careful not to make a sound. She peeked through a crack in the door and saw two people inside. One was Kimi, pacing back and forth. The other was a tall man with a shaved head, Femi. Adesua's breath caught in her throat. She stayed hidden, listening to their conversation. We need to end this, Kimi said, her voice tense. It's gone too far. You're the one who wanted to play this game, Femi replied, his tone cold. Don't back out now. I didn't think it would get this messy. Kimi snapped. The baby is innocent. Femi. We can't keep him here. Adesua's heart nearly stopped. Taif is here. Femi laughed bitterly. Innocent? Do you think anyone in this world is innocent? Stop pretending you care, Kimi. You knew what this was from the start. Kimi shook her head. I wanted to know the truth. That's all. I didn't sign up for this. Well, it's too late now, Femi said. The money's already on the table. We finish the job, or we both go down. Adesua clenched her fists. She couldn't stay hidden anymore. She had to act. She pushed the door open, stepping into the warehouse. Where is my son? She demanded, her voice loud and steady. Both Kimi and Femi spun around, their faces full of shock. What are you doing here? Kimi asked, her eyes wide. I should be asking you that, Adesua said, taking a step closer. Where is Taif? Femi smirked. Well. The mother shows up. How brave. Don't play games with me, Adesua snapped. I know you have him. I heard everything. Femi raised an eyebrow. And what are you going to do about it? You're alone, and this isn't your playground. Adesua ignored him and focused on Kimi. You said you cared about Taif, she said. If that's true, then help me. Tell me where he is. Kimi hesitated, glancing at Femi. I can't. You can, Adesua said firmly. You know this is wrong. He's just a baby, Kimi. Please. For a moment, Kimi looked like she might break. But Femi stepped forward, his expression hard. Don't listen to her, he said. She's just trying to manipulate you. No, I'm not, Adesua said, her voice shaking. I'm a mother, Kimi. I just want my child back. Please, help me. Kimi took a shaky breath, her eyes darting between Adesua and Femi. Finally, she stepped back. I'm sorry, she said quietly. I can't do this anymore. What are you doing? Femi growled. It's over, Femi, Kimi said, her voice trembling. I can't be part of this. Femi lunged toward her, but before he could reach her, Bruno burst into the room. The German shepherd growled fiercely, positioning himself between Adesua and Femi. Adesua's heart leapt. Bruno, she cried. The dog's presence threw Femi off balance. He stumbled back, cursing under his breath. Where did that dog come from? Adesua didn't wait to find out. She turned to Kimi. Where is Taif? Kimi pointed to a small room at the back of the warehouse. He's in there, she said. Adesua ran toward the room, tears streaming down her face. She threw open the door and saw Taif lying on a makeshift bed, looking small and fragile but unharmed. She scooped him up, holding him close. It's okay, baby, she whispered. Mommy's here. Behind her, Bruno growled again, keeping Femi at bay. Kimi stepped forward, her hands shaking. Take him and go, she said. I'll handle Femi. What about you? Adesua asked. Don't worry about me, Kimi said. Just go. Adesua nodded, clutching Taif tightly. She backed out of the room, Bruno following close behind. As she stepped outside, she heard Femi shouting, but she didn't look back. All that mattered was that she had Taif. When she got home, Aodil was waiting for her. His face lit up when he saw Taif in her arms, but Adesua didn't stop to talk. She brushed past him and went straight to the nursery, laying Taif down in his crib. Adesua, Aodil said, following her. What happened? How did you find him? She turned to face him, her expression cold. I found him because I didn't wait for you, she said. Because I stopped listening to your lies. Adesua, Don't, she said, cutting him off. You don't get to explain. Not anymore. Aodil looked like he wanted to argue, but he stayed silent. Adesua took a deep breath, her eyes filling with tears. Taif is safe now, and that's all that matters. But you and I? We're done. Aodil's face fell. Adesua, please. I mean it, she said firmly. I can't trust you. And without trust, there's nothing left. As Aodil stood there, silent and defeated, Adesua turned back to Taif. She stroked his tiny hand, feeling a mix of relief and exhaustion. She had fought harder than she ever thought possible, and she had won. But as she looked at her son, she couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't the end. Adesua sat in the nursery, watching Taif sleep peacefully in his crib. His tiny chest rose and fell with each breath, and for the first time in what felt like forever, she let herself smile. She had her son back. Nothing else mattered. But deep down, she knew it wasn't over. She heard Aodil pacing in the hallway outside the room. He had been quiet since she came home with Taif, but Adesua could feel his presence like a shadow hanging over her. Finally, the door creaked open, and Aodil stepped inside. "Adesua," he said softly. She didn't turn to look at him. "What do you want?" "I just want to talk," he said. "Please." Adesua let out a bitter laugh. "Now you want to talk? After everything?" "Adesua, I know I messed up," Aodil said, his voice shaky. "But I'm still Taif's father. I deserve to know what happened." She stood up slowly, turning to face him. "You want to know what happened?" she asked, her voice cold. "Fine. I'll tell you. I found our son because I stopped waiting for you to act. I found him because I trusted my instincts, not your lies." "Lies?" Aodil repeated, looking hurt. "Yes, lies." Adesua snapped. "You lied to me about Kimi. You lied to me about the footage. You lied to me about everything. And for what? To protect yourself." "I wasn't trying to protect myself," Aodil said. "I was trying to protect us. Our family." Adesua shook her head. "Don't you dare use the word family. If you cared about this family, you wouldn't have dragged Kimi into our lives. You wouldn't have doubted me. And you definitely wouldn't have doubted Taif." "I didn't doubt him," Aodil said, his voice rising. "Then why did you go to Kimi?" Adesua demanded. "Why did you let her believe Taif might be hers? Do you have any idea how much damage you've done?" Aodil looked down at the floor, his hands clenched into fists. "I made a mistake," he said quietly. "A mistake?" Adesua repeated, her voice filled with anger. "A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. A mistake is burning dinner. What you did wasn't a mistake, Aodil. It was betrayal." The room fell silent. Aodil looked up at her, his eyes filled with guilt. "I didn't know what else to do," he said finally. "When I saw Taif, I couldn't stop thinking about the baby I lost with Kimi. They looked so alike. I thought maybe what?" Adesua asked, her voice trembling. "I thought maybe he wasn't ours," Aodil admitted. "I thought maybe someone had lied to us, switched the babies. I couldn't get it out of my head." Adesua stared at him, her chest tightening. "So instead of talking to me, you went behind my back. You let your doubts ruin everything." "I didn't want to hurt you," Aodil said. "I just wanted to know the truth." "Well, now you know," Adesua said, her voice cold. "Taif is ours. He always was. And you nearly lost him because you couldn't trust me." Aodil took a step closer, his eyes pleading. "Adesua, I'm sorry. I know I messed up, but I want to fix this. Please, give me another chance." Adesua laughed bitterly. "Another chance? Aodil, this isn't a broken plate you can glue back together. You broke my trust. You broke our family. And I don't think I can forgive you for that." "Don't say that," Aodil said, his voice breaking. "We can get through this. We can be a family again." "A family?" Adesua repeated, shaking her head. "You don't even know what that means. A family is built on trust, Aodil. And you destroyed ours." Aodil looked like he wanted to argue, but he didn't. Instead, he sank into the chair by the crib, his head in his hands. "I don't know what to do," he said quietly. Adesua crossed her arms, staring at him. "What you do next is up to you," she said. "But as far as I'm concerned, I'm done waiting for you to figure it out." She turned and walked out of the room, leaving Aodil alone with his thoughts. In the days that followed, Adesua focused all her energy on Taif. She barely spoke to Aodil, and when she did, it was only about the baby. Their conversations were cold and short, like they were strangers sharing the same house. Meanwhile, Aodil tried to make amends. He called Mr. Aid to thank him for his help, but the private investigator made it clear that he had only worked with Adesua. If you really want to fix things, you need to start by being honest with her, Mr. Aid said. Aodil took the advice to heart. One evening, he approached Adesua as she was feeding Taif. Adesua, he said softly, "Can we talk?" She didn't look up. "About what?" "About us," Aodil said. "There is no us," Adesua replied, her voice flat. "There can be," Aodil said. "If you'll let me explain." "I don't need more explanations," Adesua said, cutting him off. "What I need is a partner I can trust. And you're not that person anymore." Aodil sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I don't know how to fix this," he admitted. "Maybe you can't," Adesua said simply. The tension between them only grew as the days passed. Aodil started spending more time outside the house, while Adesua focused on rebuilding her life. She reached out to friends and family, leaning on them for support. She also started looking into therapy, not just for herself, but for Taif. She didn't want her son to grow up in a house filled with anger and mistrust. One afternoon, as Adesua was packing up some of Taif's clothes, she found an old photo album tucked away in the back of the closet. She opened it and saw pictures of her and Aodil from happier times. Their wedding day, their honeymoon, the day they brought Taif home from the hospital. Tears filled her eyes as she flipped through the pages. She had loved Aodil once, with all her heart, and a part of her still did. But love wasn't enough. Not anymore. She closed the album and wiped her eyes. She knew what she had to do. That evening, Adesua sat Aodil down at the dining table. She had been avoiding this conversation, but it was time. "Aodil," she said, her voice steady. "I think we need to separate." Aodil's eyes widened. "What?" "You heard me," Adesua said. "This isn't working. We need time apart." "Adesua, please," Aodil said, his voice desperate. "We can work through this." "I don't think we can," Adesua said. "I've tried, Aodil. I really have. But every time I look at you, all I feel is anger and pain. I can't live like this. And neither can Taif." Aodil leaned forward, his hands clasped together. "Adesua, I'll do whatever it takes. Just tell me what you need." "I need space," Adesua said firmly. "I need time to figure out what's best for me and Taif. And right now, that means being apart from you." Aodil stared at her, his face pale. "Is this really what you want?" he asked quietly. "It's not about what I want," Adesua said. "It's about what I need." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Aodil nodded slowly. "If this is what you need," he said, his voice heavy, "then I'll respect it." Adesua felt a pang of sadness, but she pushed it aside. She had made her decision, and she wasn't going to back down. The next morning, Aodil packed his things and left the house. Adesua watched from the window as he drove away, her heart heavy but resolute. She turned back to Taif, who was playing on the floor with his toys. She knelt down beside him and kissed his forehead. "It's just us now," she whispered. "But we're going to be okay." As the days turned into weeks, Adesua focused on healing. She started therapy, spent more time with Taif, and slowly began to rebuild her life. She didn't know what the future held, but she was ready to face it head-on. And though the pain of the past still lingered, she knew one thing for sure: she had her son. And that was enough. The house felt quieter after Aodil left. It wasn't the peaceful kind of quiet. It was heavy, like the silence was carrying all the things left unsaid. Adesua tried not to think about it. She kept herself busy, focusing on Taif and trying to move forward. But every so often, she would catch herself staring out the window, half expecting Aodil to walk back through the door. She shook off those thoughts. She had made her decision, and she knew it was the right one. One morning, as Adesua fed Taif his breakfast, her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. She glanced at the screen and saw that it was Mr. Aid. Her stomach tightened. The last time she had spoken to him, it had been about finding Taif. What could it be now? She picked up the phone. "Hello, Mrs. Adesua," Mr. Ade's calm voice came through. I thought you should know something. It's about Femi. Adesua's heart skipped a beat. What about him? He's been arrested, Mr. Ade said. The police found evidence linking him to a baby trafficking ring. It seems your case with Taif brought more attention to his activities. Adesua felt a wave of relief. So he's finally being held accountable. Yes, Mr. Ade confirmed. But there's more. During his interrogation, he mentioned Kimi. It seems she was involved in his schemes, but she turned against him to help you. She's cooperating with the police now. Adesua didn't know how to feel about that. Kimi had played a role in taking Taif, but in the end, she had helped bring him back. Thank you for telling me, Adesua said quietly. There's one more thing, Mr. Ade added. Femi claims that someone else was helping him. He wouldn't give a name, but he hinted at someone close to you. Adesua's chest tightened. Close to me? What do you mean? I don't know, Mr. Ade admitted. But I thought you should be aware. Adesua hung up the phone, her mind racing. Someone close to her? Who could it be? She didn't want to believe it, but after everything that had happened, nothing felt impossible anymore. She thought about Aodil. Could he have been involved? Could his connection to Kimi have been deeper than he admitted? No, she told herself. Aodil had made mistakes, but he wouldn't do something like that. Would he? That evening, Adesua sat in the living room, staring at a photo of her family from happier times. Taif was just a newborn in the picture, cradled in Aodil's arms. They had all been smiling, so full of hope for the future. A knock at the door pulled her out of her thoughts. She wasn't expecting anyone, and her heart skipped a beat as she went to answer it. When she opened the door, she found Aodil standing there. He looked tired, his shoulders slumped, but there was a determination in his eyes that she hadn't seen before. Can I come in? He asked. Adesua hesitated for a moment before stepping aside. They sat across from each other in the living room, the silence between them heavy. Finally, Aodil spoke. I heard about Femi, he said. Adesua nodded. Mr. Ade told me. He also said Femi hinted that someone close to me was involved. Aodil's eyes widened. You think it was me? I don't know what to think, Adesua admitted. After everything that's happened, I don't know if I can trust you. Aodil leaned forward, his expression serious. Adesua, I swear to you, I had nothing to do with Femi's schemes. I made mistakes, yes. I doubted you, and I doubted Taif, but I would never put our family in danger. You have to believe me. Why should I? Adesua asked, her voice trembling. Why should I believe anything you say? Because I'm telling you the truth, Aodil said. I've done a lot of things I regret, but this isn't one of them. I love Taif, and I love you. I want to fix what I broke. Adesua looked away, her mind swirling with emotions. She wanted to believe him. She wanted to believe that the man she had fallen in love with was still in there somewhere. But she also knew that love wasn't enough. I don't know if we can fix this, she said quietly. Aodil's face fell. Adesua, please, don't give up on us. I'm not giving up, she said. I'm protecting myself. I'm protecting Taif. Aodil nodded slowly, his shoulders slumping. I understand, he said. But I'm not going to stop trying. I'm going to prove to you that I can be the man you deserve. As Aodil left that night, Adesua felt a flicker of hope. Maybe he really had changed. Maybe there was a chance for them after all. But the doubt lingered, like a shadow she couldn't shake. The next morning, Adesua received a call from the police. They wanted her to come in for questioning. We have more information about Femi's case, the officer said. We think it might help you understand what happened. Adesua's heart raced as she drove to the station. When she arrived, the officer handed her a folder filled with documents. These are records we recovered from Femi's warehouse, the officer explained. They show payments made to various people involved in his operations. One of the names might surprise you. Adesua flipped through the pages, her hands shaking. When she saw the name, she froze. It wasn't Aodil. It was someone else she had trusted. Adesua's mind reeled as she stared at the name. She couldn't believe it. This person had been in her life for years, someone she had thought she could rely on. "How is this possible?" she whispered. "We're still investigating," the officer said. "But it seems they were working with Femi for financial gain. We thought you deserved to know." Adesua nodded numbly, the weight of the revelation pressing down on her. She thanked the officer and left the station, her mind racing. When she got home, she sat in the nursery, holding Taif close. The betrayal cut deep, but she knew one thing for sure: she wouldn't let it break her. She had fought too hard to protect her son, and she wasn't going to stop now. As she rocked Taif to sleep, she thought about the future. It wouldn't be easy, but she was ready to face it. And no matter what came next, she would make sure that Taif grew up in a world where he was loved, protected, and safe.